Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to check fresh release from Eduard. It's their Profipack in 1/48 scale and it copies Sopwith F.1 Camel in its BR.1 version. So again, I will repeat it that this is a Profipack because first release was a limited edition. Now we get let's say a bit more accessible Profipack release, which will be less in price, and of course it carries only one kit inside. So you can see that we have quite nice box art, and I think maybe there will be also a poster offered with the same art as what you can see here, so it's really cool. And box size, I would say it's typical for such a release from Eduard. Here you can see comparison with my hand. Next, sorry, on the side here we have address of the manufacturer, some safety advices, and kit number is 82171. And on the opposite side you can see 5 marking options which are included. Quite funny touch is that these aircraft are depicted in a flying position, these ones are depicted in a parked position, so a really funny touch which adds a bit of visual interest. This is a top loading box, and we have sprues packed, as you can see, into a plastic bag. All of them are sealed into one plastic bag, and we have assembly manual on the bottom, but we will talk about it later. First, I would suggest to start with this sprues. So it's a resealable plastic bag, as you can notice, and I will just take out the parts, and we will start with this gray frames first, and then gradually we'll move on to other components as well. So first of all we have this sprue, and as you remember, Eduard likes to include a lot of parts from different versions, so that's why we have several types of the front cowling ring here. Actually, there are 4 of them. Obviously, you will have to use only one because you will have to assemble only one aircraft, but that's not an issue. I mean, these parts might be handy in your future builds. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit, and here you can see if my camera will stop shaking. So here you can see some of the struts for landing gear, and everything looks quite cool. I don't see any possible molding damage here. I think it's just a matter of careful separation of the frame and you'll be good to go. Note that landing gear wheels are molded as a single piece part. We have machine guns here. Next we continue with these front cowling sections, also some wing mechanization parts, and also some parts for the struts. And by the way, another type of the landing gear wheels. If we flip it over, here you can see these parts from the opposite side. So everything looks cool. I don't see, I would say, something what will be difficult to work with. But of course this is a World War I aircraft in 1/48 scale, so I mean, do not be surprised that some elements will be quite tiny. Next we have a separate plastic bag with a clear of parts. So here they are, if camera will focus. Yeah, now you should be able to see that they look quite nice, and you should be able to work with them, and because we have a Profipack here, it will be easy to mask them, so there is nothing to worry about. Next we continue with another sprue which shows that we have a lot of parts for extra versions. As you can see, we have different types of the engines, and again, that's really cool that some of these engines will stay in spare parts. They might be handy for some scratch build projects, so that's why I'm really glad that they're included here. And now we can take a closer look. You can notice that this is a really good detailing for a 1/48 scale. I mean, the parts are really tiny here. You can see comparison with my fingertip. We have one piece propeller, some parts for the instrument panels, and some parts for the engine here, for the cockpit, and another type of the propeller. If we flip over these parts, you can see that inside we have some guiding elements, and I think it will be easy to align them together. Just do not hurry. And as far as I remember, there were also some PE parts included, but we will have to check the assembly manual in order to understand whether it's true or not. Next we continue with another plastic sprue. So this one is the final one, and it's a 3rd gray plastic sprue. We have here several fuselage halves. Also we have some panels for the top section of the fuselage. And here you can take a look at the wings. I really like how the fabric surface is copied here, and you can see also these recessed panel lines and rivets in place. So it's just a matter of careful assembly of all this stuff together, and you'll be good to go. I think that This is really cool, I would say, level of details for 1/48 scale, and you can notice that we have some guiding elements inside. We also have some of the alignment parts implemented as internal sections, and there is also minor details in the cockpit area, but I can guess that it will be detailed even more with help of separately molded parts. And next we can move on to various bonuses. So first of all, we have this plastic bag with masks. I'm going to open it right now and we will check it together. Just give me a second. Okay, so I will move this sprue here. Let's zoom in a bit because we will be dealing with the small parts. And here you can see masks. They're pre-cut, of course, so you can see that we have masks for landing gear views and also for clear parts. This is a typical Eduard thing, so there's nothing, I would say, unusual. And next we continue with the plastic bag for PE fret. So it's a pre-painted PE fret, and I can see that we have not only the cockpit parts but also some of the external elements, which is really cool in 1/48 scale. Just be sure to use all the necessary tools, because otherwise it will be really tricky to get them into the right spot and you'll be having a funny time with all this stuff. Next, I'm opening another plastic bag. Here we have Decals sheet, so just give me a second. It's a resealable plastic bag. And of course it is printed in Eduard, so there is nothing to worry about in terms of printing quality. And I just need to remove the backing paper. So here it is. Let's zoom out a bit, maybe close the lenses. And now you can see that we even have some of the symbols pre-cut in the necessary styling, I would say, so that you won't have to deal with it. You just get the necessary symbol and apply where it should be. And of course, printing quality looks really good. Here you can take a closer look, so all the stencils also fine. We also have some dials in case you are not a fan of PE parts, but I would rather recommend to use PE parts even in such tiny parts. I mean size. Next we continue with assembly manual. So this one is printed in form of large cover printed brochure. We have short history note in English language. And next we are going to open it. Let's close the lenses a bit more. Yeah, now you should be able to see that a lot of unused parts are marked with a blue color. Then assembly process starts with the pilot seat, and straight away we are working with PE parts. As you can see, the backrest will be actually replicated with PE part, which is, I would say, rather unusual, but it will give you a bit more convincing appearance. And do not forget that you can replace this part completely with a processing upgrade. Next we continue by assembling the whole cockpit. It will be quite an interesting process, as you can see, and again I remind you that there will be a lot of parts made out of PE used here and there for various control elements. And note that you do not have to glue the cockpit floor when you are installing it into the fuselage, which is, I would say, it's rather unusual. And we also have the floor panel separate being installed in front of cockpit floor. This is really unusual assembly sequence, and frankly speaking, I already forgot that this aircraft from Eduard was assembled just like that. Here you can see engine assembly process, so actually we do not have to use any PE parts here. Next we continue with machine guns. So there are different versions, so pay attention on which machine gun you need. And next we proceed with wings. As you remember, we have these large tabs, so it will be relatively easy to get them into the right spot. But of course you have to do a lot of rigging, so be ready for that. And this is something you cannot avoid on this aircraft. We continue with landing gear here, by the way. And on this page you can see the masks application guide, which is rather useful as well. Here we continue with the rigging diagram, and another page is dedicated to the marking guide. Here we have aircraft from France, March 1918, with a dog and blue color. Next we continue with quite unusual, I would say, brownish and maybe mahogany color. You can see it's December 1917. Next we continue with aircraft from France, April 1918. I would say not that attractive marking in my opinion. Here we have another one, France, July 1917. One more And this one is quite interesting because of this top fuselage view. It comes from October 1918. And here we have various bracing upgrades, as I told you before. So some of them were reviewed on our YouTube channel, and you can find it easily just by typing their numbers. And as for today's kit, it should be already available on official Eduard website, so you can get it right there. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion here in the comment section below. If you like this video, do not forget to press the like button and share with your friends. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!